Mine is to speak a bit about communication as well, but more of action. You know, somebody earlier said, Reverend Grace said, that actions speak louder than words. I've read a quote by Abraham Lincoln somewhere. He said that people are better judged by what they do more than actually what they say. You know, so we are going to look at, I'm going to talk a bit about communication. That doesn't really involve a lot of talking. You know, we know that communication, I think actions is 90%, around 90% of communication takes place physically or otherwise, other than verbal. So in the Bible, of course, we are told that if it is love, for example, we should not only love only in word. It says love in deed. You know, so this action is very good because it ensures that our children who are very good at learning through interaction, you know, children who are young, except the ones who are maybe 18 or so, like our sister said, they learn a lot through interaction. You know, how do you interact with them? How do you interact with the mother, or the mother interacts with the father? You know, that's how they learn mostly. So it is very important that in our day-to-day, we get to a place where we take time to interact with them physically, you see. I know that, of course, in this place, in this area, in this where we are now, say for Sister Tamara, I think it's a bit laid back over there, but over here, as you know, it's a rush here and there, you see. But where I grew up, although it is, you know, parents don't really have time for their children, you know, and that affects us in a way, although they do not get to know that it does affect us. They believe that once they have given you your school fees and given you all you need to go to school, you're good to go. You see, but that leaves a great gap, you know, it leaves a great gap. So I'm not really saying that we shouldn't be verbally, you know, or speaking to our children, but what I'm emphasizing is we follow our words with our action, which is very, very important. So I'm talking about how to listen to our children, you know. In this communication, listening is something that many of us do not know how to do, actually. You know, it's we think that if a child is speaking to you and you're there, they'll definitely assume that you're listening. But are you really listening? You know, that is where the practicability comes in. Listening involves us engaging with them. You know, for example, the sister gave an example that a child comes up, you know, for example, in the morning, you're preparing another to go to school, the little one. The other one is asking whether you have topped up their card for lunch. Another one is asking you for their shoes, whether you have booked an appointment. And another one comes to you crying. In the morning, you're trying to prepare breakfast, they are crying. You know, what do? Do you continue with your preparation and leave them alone and say, okay, I'm listening, can you speak? No. At some point, we need to stop everything we are doing and give them attention. Look them in the eye and listen to them. Because when we listen, actually, we get to learn more about our children than when we ask them. If their children come and you say, how was your school? What was happening? They'll say, it was all right. Most times that's what I get. They say, it was all right. But sometimes they'll say it was all right. But then you can sense that something is wrong somewhere. You see, so by listening, we can be able to tap into their emotions. You see, we get to know exactly where the emotions are, because children are very emotional beings as well. That's how, if we can harness their emotion, then we can give them a sense of yeah. So as I said, sometimes, for example, if a child is coming from school and you're asking them, oh, hello, how was school? And they say it was all right, because they know usually that when you ask, you're not really intending to understand what was going on. You're asking because it's routine. When you go to pick them, you say, hello, how was school? Fine. It has kind of become a routine. But I believe it is very important that we learn to engage with them, create some space where we can, for example, for me, I take time out, to sit with them and play with them. In that way, you can hear things that will shock you sometimes. A child comes up with a word or a sentence or a statement that will shock you. You say, wow, I didn't know that's how you feel. Simply because you have given them a space, like God does. God gives us a space to make our mistakes, and then he corrects us. So through that interaction will bring them close and open them up. We can know if a child, for example, is going through bullying at school. We can tap that through their emotion. Maybe they're angry, maybe they're fearful, they may be, kind of sitting in one corner or sitting in the bedroom and locking themselves away. So through paying attention, we can actually tap into those emotions and get to the bottom of what is going on in their lives. So another thing is, from where I've come from, parents, especially, that kind of physical relationship is a kind of limited. In some places, it's also kind of taboo, I should say. But a physical relationship with our children, I believe, is so important. Because, for example, simple things, we could do simple things like a hug. I've heard of children who have said to me, actually friends of mine who have said to me that, what, all my time growing up, I never had a hug from my dad. You see, and also that can be seen. My dad was a good dad. He would take us everywhere. He would, take us to the beach and so forth. But that kind of physical relationship was never there. At the end of it all, because we are far apart, we can't sustaining a conversation for even 2 minutes or 3 minutes is difficult. I have to push it, to get him to say, to get him to open up, to get him to converse with me. Why? Because of that physical relationship. It was not there, that we didn't bond properly. with my dad. But with my mom, of course, moms are carrying you everywhere and so forth. I can talk for hours with her, you see. So it is important that we develop that side of our relationship, the physicality, of our relationships with our children. There's something it does.